This is one of my favorite moments of the film festival. This is when we talk to the directors to get a little bit more in depth about their films or their processes and stuff like that. So let's get into the question and answer sessions. Can you please introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about your film.
Hi, my name is Maysaa Almumin. I'm the director of And I Was Left Behind. It is a short, visceral documentary about a memory I revisit and reflect on.
My name is Andrew Shemin, and my short film is called Breakfast of Champions. And it's a film about a woman who goes into a bar to pitch basically assisted suicide without really naming it.
I'm Jeroen. I graduated in Ghent from the film school in 2020, 22, I mean. And my Butterflyman is my graduation film.
I always find it very interesting to actually discuss with the filmmaker, what's the genesis of the film? How did it come about?
I first had the thought for this film after seeing a advertisement in the fall of 2022 from a Canadian clothing brand that was telling the story of a woman who had chosen euthanasia. And I found it honestly very disturbing. A lot of people did. I think the video was taken down for a while. You can still find it out there. But it was very beautifully shot. And it just kind of said to me that you can really sell people on anything if you make it beautiful.
So it was a time of you really feeling the distance between people, and this lack of mobility made me reflect a lot on the instances when my grandmother was also telling me about how in her time, traveling, around from Kuwait to Saudi Arabia to, in that region, it was obviously during that time where travel was not so ubiquitous, it was difficult to go back and visit. So when you traveled, it meant that, you were separated for a really, really long time, and, you don't receive news from the people that you love. So that's how that memory became so important to me. And I felt compelled to make this film.
The idea for the film started with an image in my head of a person, a man who works in a butterfly garden in the zoo. And he, before the opening time, he washes his butterflies and then hangs them on a washing line to dry, like washing clothes, like a washing line, I mean. But yeah, actually that element disappeared from the story in the writing process. So, but that's where it started, like this absurd image.
For those of us who are technically involved in the filmmaking process, tell me, how long did it take you to shoot and edit the film?
So it started off while I actually was stuck in Finland, unable to travel back to Qatar. So I started the film shooting it in Finland. And then when I finally, like about a month and a half of trying to get back to Qatar because of all the COVID regulations, then I came back, I shot it in a completely different way while I was in quarantine. And then when I came out of quarantine, I decided to reflect on how to make this film again. So I kind of made this film technically 3 times over in 3 different versions. It's almost like the 5 obstructions by Jorgen Leth or something.
The shooting itself was only 7 days, but for editing it really took a long time because first I edited together with somebody, but after we finished I wasn't really satisfied with the result yet, and then I had another shot at it, editing myself for some time. So I'm not really sure how much time, but a long time.
So the shoot was pretty quick. It was a 2-day shoot, and the edit was a couple months. Just kind of going back and forth with breaks and doing a rough draft, showing it to some people. I think I was actually done by, so we shot it in May. It was actually the week of my wedding. So the Monday and the Tuesday before I got married last year, we were shooting this.
A story within a story. You know, when you make a film, it's many people have said it's like giving birth. I'm not in that position, but it's a very difficult, laborious thing to do, making film. Do you have any funny, interesting, or weird and wacky stories about this film which we've just seen?
Because it was so small, because it was so zero budget, this is the very first time that I started to become confident in saying that I am a filmmaker. Because I had to be so involved in every different aspect. So even though the films that I made before may have had a much bigger budget and funds and grants and went to, you know, lots of festivals, it's this one that touches people, you know, on a very personal level, I find. So it's interesting that my smallest film, I feel, has become kind of my biggest success as a filmmaker.
And when we came the first day to start setting up at 7, there was somebody already outside waiting at like 6:50 in the morning to go into the bar. And, you know, we had all our camera gear and we're like, oh, it's actually closed. He's like, yeah, it's closed for like 10 more minutes, then you can go in. I was like, no, the bar's actually like closed today. We're shooting something. And he didn't really fully understand until we walked in the door, and then he saw us, like, nobody was there working. But yeah, this is the kind of bar that opens at 7 a.m., you know, with a full rack of pints and everything. So that was pretty funny.
Life is all about learning lessons, and as an independent filmmaker, I think that we've been beaten up and we've learned a lot of lessons, and we understand that nothing comes easily. Do you have any lessons that you've learned through this film that you'd like to share with us?
I learned a lot of things during the shooting, but that was I find it hard to pin any words on it. But during pre-production, I also learned a lot about butterflies, of course.
Learning to be a bit more patient and to let go, because, you know, you want to have everything somewhere, and I think, you know, challenging myself to do something so short, you know, gave me the biggest lesson.
One thing that I did in this film that was new is I used a bit of AI, and it's not very noticeable, but I think there's little ways to use it that can really help a filmmaker. So for example, the brochures, when they read the brochures at the end, those are completely AI generated. I literally could just put the commands in there. I put in commands to create the images. So all those things you see of, like, you know, there's like an old guy with a white beard holding a disco ball. That was from AI. There was an old couple on a boat. And it's kind of funny because the picture came out with way more aggressive waves than you would ever really put in a photo like that. But that was kind of funny. You can't really see it, but it's funny. Yeah, and AI created the whole brochure.
You're competing with dozens of other filmmakers here and at the ÉCU, the European Independent Film Festival. Tell us, how do you feel about that?
Really happy and really honored. Yeah, it's really cool to be part of it. Yeah, definitely.
I'm really just excited to be there. I'm excited to see as many of the films that I can. I will be coming. I lived in Paris for 10 years. So, you know, it's a good excuse for me. I'm in New York now, but it's a good excuse to come back. And I look forward to meeting the people and seeing what else is being made.
I love it. I love the fact that I'm in this particular festival, because I have screened my last film, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. So it's kind of a festival that's close to my heart. I love the films that are screened in it, and I'm especially happy that this particular year that I'm here in person, and, you know, so to really experience it.